Thank you, Mr. Lamborn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you all for being here and for your contributions. Secretary Hagel, I'd like to ask you a question first. On March 15th, when you announced that we would be able to have additional interceptors, you were standing next to Admiral Winnefeld, the Vice Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and he said, and I'm quoting from the transcript, "We believe the KN-08, the North Korean missile, probably does have the range to reach the United States." And would you agree with that statement?
I don't recall him making. I wasn't there. I don't know if I was there or not. I'm not sure if he was referring to Hawaii, which is part of the United States, as we know. So I don't know. I'd have to, if that's what he was referring to. Certainly, as I said, there are things we don't know. So I'll ask him if he was, and I'll ask the chairman.
Let me help a little bit here. You recall the Taepodong 2, which launched the satellite, the North Korean satellite, into space. That had a third stage, and it's that third stage that was the kind of the breakthrough for the North Koreans. And I think what Admiral Winnefeld was saying is that now that they have that third stage technology apparently under control, it could very well migrate to the KN-08.
Okay, thank you. And General Dempsey, I'd like to ask you my next question. The Defense Intelligence Agency did a study that was finished last month. Now, while the contents of the study are classified, the conclusions and certain statements are not classified. And quoting from the unclassified portion, which I believe has not yet been made public, they say, quote, "DIA assesses with moderate confidence the North currently has nuclear weapons capable of delivery by ballistic missiles. However, the reliability will be low." General, would you agree with that assessment by DIA?
You know, Congressman, with the number of caveats you put on the front end of this, I can't touch that one because I'm not sure now. It hasn't been released. Some of it's classified, some of it's unclassified. Let me take that one for the record.
Well, okay. Let me repeat. Maybe I caught you a little bit off guard here because you've had so many questions today, and I understand this is a lengthy process. But they concluded, and this is public. This is unclassified, so I can make it public. DIA assesses with moderate confidence the North currently has nuclear weapons capable of delivery by ballistic missiles. However, the reliability will be low.
And your question is, do I agree with the DIA's assessment?
Yes.
Well, I haven't seen it, and you said it's not publicly released, so I choose not to comment on it.
Okay.
Well, the Pentagon has now released an intelligence report that finds that North Korea has increased its military capability to the point where it could put a nuclear warhead on a ballistic missile. This is Secretary of State Kerry landed in South Korea to meet with one of our biggest allies in Asia, of course, and very central player in this entire scenario. I'm joined now by Mike Baker, former CIA Covert Operations Officer and the president of Diligence LLC, a global intelligence and security firm. Good morning, Mike. Good to have you here.
Good morning.
Yeah, so you got sort of mixed messages here. This Pentagon intelligence report that came out and was sort of perhaps, spoken when it shouldn't have been in this public hearing yesterday that claims that, yes, indeed, it used to be a question mark, but they say they could launch a missile that had a nuclear warhead on it. The White House is sort of downplaying that side of the story. You know, who should we believe? What do you make of this?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, you alluded to it. The representative who discussed this DIA, the Defense Intelligence Agency report, he went some lengths to say, look, this is an unclassified section of what is actually a classified report. So he's discussing something he really shouldn't have been discussing in a public forum. But the problem that we're seeing with sort of the mixed messages, as you put it, is a lack of clarity, a lack of human intelligence. Not to say that we don't have signals intelligence, satellite coverage. We've got other sources of intelligence. What we don't have is, again, we're lacking the human that can provide more clarity on this matter so that we can actually make sounder decisions on where to go with this.
Given that, what do you do?
Well, I mean, I think the first thing we have to do is realize that, I don't want to oversimplify this, but when we're talking about does North Korea have the capability to put a nuclear weapon on a long-range missile as opposed to a short-range missile, we have to understand that it's kind of a moot point, because we've been kicking the can down the road to this point of this discussion. If we continue to behave in the same fashion, if we continue with the same policies, then eventually, yes, they will. Of course they will. That's what they're doing. And the other part of this equation is China. Yeah. And I think we need to have a come-to-Jesus meeting with China. And I don't think this administration is ready to take a tough stance with them. But they are the only player in this that can bring North Korea back into the box. And without that effort, without China taking this seriously, we're going to continue to have this same sort of pattern of behavior from North Korea, even if we kind of diffuse this current crisis.
What's in China's best interest? And what would you, if you were to sit down and have that come to Jesus discussion with them, what would you say, Mike?
Well, I mean, we have to understand that they're upset with us on a variety of reasons. They're upset because we're calling them out on their constant cyber attacks and economic espionage over the years. And so there's reasons why I think they are not so quick to rein in North Korea. Again, they're the only player capable of doing that. I think we need to sit down with them and explain to them in no uncertain terms that this is unacceptable. We have to take a stronger stance. I mean, we're not going to, what are we going to do? We can't ignore the situation because of the nuclear and ballistic capabilities. We can't hug it out with North Korea. It's not as if we want to open up a channel and say, now you've got diplomatic recognition and reward this behavior. So we have to take a harder line stance, I believe. And the only way we really want to do that is through China, because again, we have so limited options here, and China has to get on board with this. For whatever reason, they're not right now. And I think we need to do a better job of understanding what their agenda is in this game.
All right. I guess Secretary of State John Kerry's got his work cut out for him. Mike, thank you very much.
Sure. Thank you.
A military and intelligence revelation, Wolf. Pure and simple. Has North Korea made more progress than anybody knew about manufacturing and being able to deliver a nuclear weapon? Today on Capitol Hill, Congressman Doug Lamborn, Republican of Colorado, had this extraordinary acknowledgement.
Quoting from the unclassified portion, which I believe has not yet been made public, they say, quote, DIA assesses with moderate confidence the North currently has nuclear weapons capable of delivery by ballistic missiles. However, the reliability will be low. General, would you agree with that assessment by DIA?
Congressman, with the number of caveats you put on the front end of this, I can't touch that one, because I'm not sure now. It hasn't been released. Some of it's classified, some of it's unclassified. Let me take that one for the record.
A top secret classified report from the Defense Intelligence Agency, some of the most closely held secrets about North Korea's nuclear weapons capability. Let's go very quickly to George Little, the official spokesman for the Pentagon, and what he had to say to Jake Tapper on The Lead just a short time ago.
Jake, I think you can understand that I can't get into classified intelligence assessments, but we are very concerned about North Korea's growing missile capabilities.
But that conclusion the congressman was reading, that was unclassified, so surely you could elaborate on that the North Koreans have missiles with nuclear capability, even though they might not be all that reliable.
Well, the conclusion, in fact, may be unclassified, but the underlying content is definitely classified.
Wolf, here's what we know. Since North Korea's last nuclear test, they said that they had miniaturized technology for nuclear weapons. That's really key. That means the technology that can put together a nuclear warhead and potentially put it on a ballistic missile. The U.S. had always said it had to believe North Korea's assertion about that. Even yesterday, General Dempsey publicly said he had to accept the worst case scenario about North Korea's ability to do this. But the capability, if they can do it, the question that we don't know the answer to, does the U.S. believe they've already done it? Do they have it made up and ready to go in their arsenal? I caught up with Congressman Lamborn just a short time ago to try and get some additional clarification. Have a listen.
We do not know that they have with any high degree of certainty. We know that with moderate certainty, they do have that capability. And the reason I'm concerned about this is because the president has offered a defense budget that cuts missile defense by $500 million. My goal in all this is, by calling attention to the potential threats, that we restore those dollars.
So any which way you cut this, Wolf, clearly there are some growing indications from the intelligence community that North Koreans are further along than the American public realize. The question is, how far along? Have they really done it? And again, this notion of moderate confidence, the U.S. still has very little information about what exactly North Korea is up to and how soon they can do any of this, Wolf.